Hi everyone, Paul here again with a quick debrief of what we saw in Module 1. First off, a quick announcement that the applications for the certificate cohort are now closed. Because Module 1 is done, that time has passed, and unfortunately we won't be accepting any retroactively. So if you haven't already been accepted into the certificate cohort, or if you haven't specifically heard from me directly, and there's only one or two of you that have, then unfortunately the certificate cohort is no longer an option. Now, you can stay on and still complete everything else in the course. You can still read those case studies, you can complete the quizzes, and get the badge for completing this course, and basically still do 90% of what is involved. The only thing you won't be able to do is participate specifically in those case study discussions. If you really want to get that certificate, there is still an opportunity to do that when we offer the course again. And currently we're planning on doing that in August or September of this year. So there will be another opportunity that will come along to do that. So that said, I want to say a few things about the case that you saw in this module. All of the learning that we're going to do is going to be mostly ideas, concepts, theories, and then we can apply them through these case studies. And as I said before, this particular case study is intentionally designed to be a little bit confusing. And it's actually based on a real world case that we had brought to us at one of our governance schools of a person who couldn't decide whether her organization was a co-op or a social economy organization or none of the above, because the structure was so convoluted. And we find that it actually happens in real life. So a few things I want you to pull out of this case study. Number one, in real life, governance structure is not clean. We can't really always put, like we do in the course, all the different roles into these nice, clean packages. In real life, governance is far more complex and nuanced than that. So how do we determine things like ownership? That was the first question you saw. And a lot of you went to traditional measures of ownership like investment, money, residual claims, those kinds of things. And the confusing part of this case is it's not quite clear who's invested the money, because members invest money, but members don't always receive services. The government has invested a huge amount of money, but the way the Canadian healthcare system works is that money actually goes through and follows the patients. So it's not clear who actually owns this thing. And I even saw one or two of you said, well, nobody actually owns this. And that's really interesting. If nobody owns it, how does that affect the governance structure? Because really that's what we're talking about. So these are important ideas to pull out. Relating to question 2, another thing that is interesting about this case is the difference between formal and informal governance. And we'll get into this a lot more, particularly in modules 4 and 5, I believe. But is informal governance a good thing if we have standard practices that aren't actually written into bylaws? Is that a good way to do governance? Or should everything that happens be written into the bylaws? I think for those of you who are involved with cooperative enterprises, you'll find that a lot of the governance, not necessarily at the board level, but the governance through the organization is done informally. And that can be a really good and really powerful thing, but it can also have its challenges. So I want you to keep that in mind as we get into the last 3 modules, because that is a theme that will come up again. So I hope you've enjoyed your introduction to this. I promise for those of you who are thinking, when are we really going to get into the really big ideas? Those are coming. We're going to start slow, and I promise by the time we get to those last few modules, we'll be really thinking about big picture, important governance ideas for co-ops. So thanks so much for your awesome participation so far through Module 1. I've really enjoyed reading all your answers to those case study questions and your comments. That's been great. So keep up that awesome participation, and I'll really look forward to chatting with you all in Module 2. Bye now.